Yes, I would say this comment is true, but it is also a half truth that it doesn't address the total um, result, like basically the total aspect of why people plea. That could be a reason that they are pleading because they are very much guilty and they are trying to lessen the blow. They know they did it and they're just trying to get as less time as they can for committing a crime. Now, there's a flip side to it, and that's the side that nobody tends to look at. Now, I am a representative of my husband, Marcello Jackson. I have been fighting his wrongful conviction for the last about to be 22 years come April. And what I was saying was that the plea process is basically the first thing that they're going to, first and only things, only resources that they're going to try to give you when you go to court with a public defender. Those that go with public defenders, which is the legal counsel that will be afforded to you if you cannot afford, they just have to afford you legal counsel. It doesn't mean that the legal counsel is going to work for you in any type of way. In my husband's case, so this is how I know this firsthand. My husband is innocent. And it was another comment saying that innocent will take it to trial. Basically, in loose terms, will take it to trial because an innocent person is not going to take a plea. Now, that is very much true. Most innocent people do try to take it to trial. But the thing is, once you go through trial, you learn that the trial process is no way fair at all. And that is why my husband went to trial. Unfortunately, he went to trial with a public defender. And then back to this case, the public defender is not going to fight for you. They don't put up any fight. They don't bring any evidence forward. They don't research anything. They don't go canvass the neighborhood. They don't do anything. In fact, most times they work against you. My husband's public defender worked against him. And because of it, he only wanted him to plea. Every time we met, he would say, "Hey, are you going to take the 17 years plea?" And my husband's like, 17 years for something I didn't do? I didn't do this. We gave him plenty of proof. They got rid of the surveillance cameras that would basically prove my husband's innocence. But they got rid of that. So they got rid of the actual evidence that could have proved my husband's innocence. And every time I met with my husband's public defender with him, never once did he plan any type of defense, go over any strategy. Only thing he would do is say, "Are you gonna take the 17 years? Are you gonna take the 17 years? Are you gonna take the 17 years?" They had no fingerprints, no DNA. They charged my husband with the weapon that they gave good look for but never found, never recovered. So they really went to trial with no evidence. So my husband, being innocent, believed that, hey, they have no evidence against me, so I can take this to trial. And I do remember the last time before going to court with my husband, right before he was wrongfully convicted, the public defender said, "Hey, are you going to take the 17 years?" And my husband was like, "I can't take 17 years for something I did not do." And he was like, listen, let me explain this. Let me explain this. Let's say you had I guess you can't say this on TikTok anymore, but you had the big C in your arm. And I was your doctor, and I didn't advise you to cut your arm off so that you can live. He said, and then you took it to try, basically, you went along with having the big C, and ultimately you were no more. You met your demise. And he was like, "What kind of doctor would I be?" He said, "Listen, I am telling you that you need to take the plea of 17 years. He said, "Are you going to take the plea?" He said, "Cut your arm off so that you can live." And he was like, Are you going to take the plea? And my husband said, no, I cannot take 17 years for what I did not do. And the last words before that public defender went to trial defending my husband was, okay then, kiss your daughter goodbye. And when he went to trial, that second part that you said about you get more time, my husband went into trial innocent, and he completely got more time because he took it to trial. And when you go to trial and when you lose that rigged up trial, yes, they definitely are going to hit you with more time. So now my husband had 17 years, but once convicted wrongfully, they gave him 40 years. He is 22 years down the line in his 40-year sentence. Had he just took the plea of 17 years, he would have been out years ago. He would have been out in time for our daughters. He missed from kindergarten graduation, high school graduation. He just missed her college graduation, birth of our first granddaughter. He missed everything. He would have been home before my daughter even graduated high school if he had just took the plea. And there are some people that actually know the system is stacked up against us, and an innocent person really does not stand a chance in our system, which makes no sense, but that's how it is. An innocent person, just like the original video is stating that innocence should matter, but it doesn't. It doesn't matter. And to people that do go to trial, if you are, this is not legal advice, but this is save your advice. If you are going to go to trial, it is not wise to go with a public defender. You have got to be able to afford a private lawyer. A private lawyer is really going to be your only true way of having the fairest trial, because trial is not fair, but to get the fairest outcome, possibly, because there's many people that pay lawyers and still don't get a fair trial. But to possibly get a fair trial is going to be to have a paid lawyer. And if you cannot afford one, I literally would just take the plea. Me and my husband are looking back, wishing he would have took the plea. And yes, taking the plea would have been saying that I am innocent of this crime, but I'm going to say I did it just to save myself, because the system is not fair nor just. All right. So your comment is true to a certain extent. And what happened is they exploited that process. And now, to avoid having to ever go to trial and fight for you, they're only going to try to convince you to take the plea, 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 like a broken record, because that's what they want you to do. All right. It's your girl Cadillac.